Raised Rowdy.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Raised Rowdy Podcast. I am Nicky T.
My name is Kurt Ozan.
And we have our special guest this week, Mr. Zach John King.
What's up?
Dude, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah.
Maybe in a storm, we shall see.
We'll see. If it starts rattling, we'll know why.
Hey, that would make good content if the roof caves in during the pod.
I don't know if it would or not.
Might be the end of it.
Yeah. We're going to hope that it doesn't. But as I said, man, thanks for being here. It's been super cool to watch everything happen that has happened for you since we first kind of got to meet you. So I think the first event you played for us was out here at the Rusty Nail in Hermitage.
Yes, sir.
Which is so funny. We were just there last night for Rhythm and Smoke, which got rained out outside and moved inside. And, you know, the sound is the sound at the Rusty Nail.
It is.
It is.
It is sound there.
It is. You do hear it.
Yeah.
You know?
Ideally.
I told Kurt, I was like, the Rusty Nail was extra rusty last night.
Yeah, I love that.
It was fun though, man.
Heck
but
yeah.
it's been, you were too big to play there for us, but we thank you for doing it back then.
That. Thank you
No,
for having me.
you were, dude. Even when you got to town, there was like a buzz about you. Like people knew that you were freaking great, and you were.
Thanks,
and so it's cool to see like you kind of build your team out and you know, find the folks that believe in you as much as you believe in them and get to do the dang thing.
Yeah, we're trying. We're
Yeah.
trying.
Well, I remember back then hearing the songs, and even through the view of the beautiful lights at the Rusty Nail and the sound system, you could kind of hear it like set apart.
Yeah.
You know? Your voice is super cool, and your tunes are amazing, man.
Thanks, man.
We were kind of previewing the EP that we got a little bit of an early listen
Heck
to.
yeah. Good.
Yeah.
It's like all smash singles.
Yes.
The whole EP.
very
Smashes,
much.
bro. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Dude,
dude,
I was
that's
telling
the
Nick,
big
it's
goal.
like I could hear the crowd already singing the songs.
That's the goal, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we worked really hard to pick. You know, we wanted like a balance, right?
Yeah.
We didn't want it to just be a hodgepodge.
Yeah.
But we also were like, it needs to be unskippable.
Yeah.
But also telling a complete story of who I am, and I feel like we
Yes.
kind of hit both. Like if you listen to track 1 through 6, you should know who I am by the end of it.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean there has to be boring songs on
No.
there. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Yeah.
Man, I talk about this all the time. Like, I want an album or a EP or whatever where I could hear myself listening to one of those songs over and over and over again 100 times, and then I go to the next song and I listen to it over and over and over 100 times. Like, that's the kind of listener I am, and you have that with this.
Thank you, man.
Which
We
is
worked
super
really hard to get there, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's
It means
sick.
the world. Thank you.
Who's like been doing your production?
Yeah, so Ryan Wilson.
Yeah.
He's been my buddy literally since I was in an indie rock band in Athens, Georgia. He lived in Griffin, Georgia, and he had a little studio, and my band started recording with him, and then I moved here, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do the Nashville production thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to sound like Nashville yet.
Right.
And so I called him up, and he was like, yeah, we'll do it together. And so we've been doing it literally since day one, and I mean, it's been so fun. Now I'm co-producing this newer stuff, not the EP stuff, but we got some new stuff.
Yeah.
But he's just like, at this point, we've worked together so long. He speaks my language, and I speak his, and we do everything ourselves.
So cool.
My band tracks the records. So
Sick,
it's just a blast, and we think that like by doing that, we're getting something a little different. So it sounds a little different than the rest of town.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And that's like one of the things we talk about is like, how do you stand out in the crowd? Like, looks one of them, vibes one of them, what you curate and how you kind of do your social media, of course, is important. But the music's the most important.
It is.
Right? Like standing out sonically in a weirdly wild field of country music with more artists crossing over than ever, you know, more songs being put out than ever by artists that are putting out music. It becomes challenging. And I think you freaking hit the nail on the head with this, brother.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
The Rusty Nail.
There you
The
go.
old Rusty
Tying it
Nail.
all back in. Let's go.
So you, by you taking off and moving to Nashville, Ryan moved to town too, I assume, right?
He actually he lives in Atlanta, and he'll come up now. He comes up to Nashville. But the first few projects, like we were doing at his studio still.
So you would go back home to Georgia.
I'd go back to Georgia, cut stuff with my boys, and it took a lot longer because, you know, at the time, like, we didn't know what we were doing. We weren't session guys.
Yeah.
So it was a long, arduous process, and now we've got it pretty locked. We have one utility guy come in now.
Who's that? Because they're still on the record.
Yeah, Johnny. I need to remember his last name, but he's been incredible. He plays everything. So if we need a banjo, if we need a pedal steel, if we need a B3,
That's the guy.
he's like our utility guy. And so what it does for my guys is it allows them to do their thing.
Yeah.
And then he can cover the rest of the bases.
That's nice.
It's been our best way and the most efficient way without compromising the sound.
Yeah.
And is he a Nashville guy or is he a Georgia guy?
My producer.
No, this guy Johnny.
Johnny's here in Nashville.
Oh, cool. So you drive him over to Atlanta or whatever?
Now Ryan will come here and we record at Nome.
Okay.
And then we'll just call whatever utility guy we want and we have him for the day. And
That's
then
sick.
my guys come in and it's been really fun.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I remember talking to like Charles Wesley Godwin and his producer Al and be like, so when you guys move to town? And they're like, what?
Never.
They're like, why would Al's like, I live in this house and there's a studio in it and it's a huge, nice studio.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, why would I move to Nashville and pay rent? And I was like, oh yeah, why would you? Yeah. So it's cool that your buddies still live in Atlanta. And you're also like different because you're from a different place and you're not drinking coffee with and talking production with all the same folks all the time.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I
yeah.
think some of, if not the best music is produced in Nashville by Nashville producers. I think it's incredible. I think if it was just for us, it was like carving that lane early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And right now, what that looks like for me is using people that nobody else is using.
Yeah.
And so it's been a blast.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Are some of the guys from your band some of the guys from when you were doing the indie stuff, or is it
Not anymore?
crew?
No,
Yeah.
but that's been fun. We all met through that process of like I was trying to pick. We're back in Griffin, Georgia.
Yeah.
It's like, well, who plays in Griffin, Georgia?
Yeah.
And you just find people and you get to know them. And then time came to pick a band for these shows that kept popping up. And I was like, well, Sam tracked on bass for the record. Let me call Sam. And it just grew to where now it's like we don't have to learn parts.
Yeah.
A lot of times you got Bukovac playing a ridiculous guitar part and your band has to learn it. But my band makes all the parts. So like our live show is exactly what the record is, which is really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm proud of that.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen you full band.
Ooh, we'll get there. We have a show coming up in the fall with Dylan Scott at the Pinnacle.
Hell yeah.
So that should be a blast.
I got to go there. We were supposed to go for the Gavin show, but we had a wedding the day that we bought tickets for because we're idiots and we just bought tickets thinking, oh yeah, we don't have anything going on. And then we got the invitation mail and I'm like, damn. I was happy to go to the wedding. But
those shows look sick, though.
they look sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they look
Pinnacle's
so
a
good.
great venue.
I've heard nothing but great things. I haven't been there yet.
And if like you're given like a backstage pass or whatever, they have like these cubbies that are like above the stage. It's not like a cubby, it's like a nice room so you can watch and listen side stage, and there's a bathroom and there's a bar.
Oh, that's
So
incredible.
all your VIPs are taken care of.
I love that.
That's
yeah,
really cool.
it's sick.
We're trying to get all my family to either come. We're playing the Roxy in Atlanta
Yeah.
or the Pinnacle. It's like the same weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get all my family to either come to Nashville or Atlanta.
One or the other.
Because a lot of my family hadn't seen me live either.
It's so crazy.
Because we just started playing shows.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we'll just have them go to the Georgia show, and Nick and I will come to Nashville. Too.
Deal.
But drink all the beers in the VIP section.
I got y'all. Come on. Let's do it.
Oh man, no, it's crazy too. Like the Nashville shows because it's like everybody's in town.
Brutal.
Everybody wants to
New
go.
York, LA, yeah.
So we understand that that's not how it always works.
Sure. I got you.
Got to take care of the family, man.
Absolutely.
Amen.
But dude, it's been super cool, and honestly, and Matt will probably tell you this, and Kurt might too, because I have this thing where I'll listen to a song over and over and over, and for me, "Wanna Be Cowboy" was that song for a while.
Thanks, man.
Like it really was. I just being a dude that I was like, I did not grow up in the country. I grew up a little bit white trash. You know what I mean? And like, so the lyrics hit home and the melody is fantastic. And it just feels so relatable to kind of like how I grew up. Like I drove an 87 Buick Skyhawk that was spray paint black. I didn't drive a pickup truck.
Sure, sure.
So it's like, it sounds like kind of like I feel attached to that story as much as anybody does,
Yeah, we've made, that's kind of why we've made it the brand right
Yeah.
now. I love that song. It was one of the first songs I ever wrote in town.
So good.
But we made it the brand because it was the truest thing for me. Like, so my grandparents lived out in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah.
I was just
when
there
they
2
were
days
married.
ago.
It's beautiful. It's
crazy.
it's an interesting place because there's not much to do
So
out there.
unique, yeah.
But they were cowboys in all intents and purposes. Like my favorite picture of my granddad is a Polaroid of him in his Stetson by the Grand Canyon, and like this is his flannel. Actually, that was not planned, and it's like I think the picture's like in the flannel, and basically I have that in my blood. But then also I've got this part of me that like has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Grew up in a cul-de-sac in South Georgia.
Yeah.
I think I've ridden a horse like 4 or 5 times,
Yeah.
And so I was like, I feel 50-50 and I can't lie about it. I think that's the thing when people come into Nashville, it's tempting to want to like put this persona on
Yeah.
as a cowboy because they're the coolest,
Yeah.
right? But I was like, yeah, we got to shoot it straight. It's been cool to see people react to it because it does feel genuine, and it's really fun to see people like identify themselves with it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people feel that way, I feel like.
I think so too, man. It's like cowboy culture is cool again, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
But it's not everybody's a cowboy,
No.
you know,
No.
which is awesome too.
Yeah. I do a lot of photo shoots and stuff, and it's like, I get a lot of like, give me like the Marlboro Man look, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. The beard suits it well, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Pull it
Well, I mean,
off.
like as a photographer, I shoot photos. Also.
Oh, I got you.
Like
Yeah,
shoot
yeah,
artist
yeah.
photos. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's back, man.
Yep.
But it's like I was a rock guy growing up, so I didn't know what a steel guitar was until now I play one professionally. But it's like hearing the song, it's like, yes, why? It's one of those things like I hear a song, I'm like, why didn't I write that? You know?
Yeah. What's it's for me is like I grew up. My grandparents had this little radio on their cabinet, and they would only listen to country music. And my grandma would sing and whistle when she cooked. And all I remember, like from the earliest song, was like Patsy Cline. I heard "Crazy" at the kitchen sink, and I was like, "What is that?" So you grow up on country music, and then you get to high school, and I was like, "Country music's my grandparents' music. Like screw that." And I run as far away from it as I can, and fall in love with anything indie rock. I'm like anything, Radiohead, Strokes, Kings of Leon, you name it. And now I fell back in love with where I came from, like a lot of people do, and you start kind of taking both of those passions and mixing them together. And now I think it's a really cool time in country because you can do that.
Yeah, you can carve your own lane.
Yeah.
And there is a wide enough lane that all of it can exist and have so much success, which is super cool. Yeah, it's I mean, I love the stuff that kind of sounds crossover to like indie or folk.
Yeah.
Like we had Max McNown on the podcast and I love his stuff, and like Cameron Whitcomb, like I love that lane. That's almost like Lumineersy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I hear like a smidge of that in like what
100.
you're doing.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
like,
we have banjo in every single song I
Yeah.
write. We have pedal steel in every single song I write.
Yep.
I think those are the two most perfect instruments in the world.
yeah.
But then we've got like, we play a Jaguar instead of a Tele in some of our songs, which is a very indie rock thing to do. So we're trying to take both of those, and it's fun as we continue to record, finding that identity and like stamping it even harder in these new songs where people are like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
And it takes a little time. When you first start recording, you're chasing something, and now we've got this like thing.
And it takes no time to like get infected by it when you listen
100,
to it.
yeah.
I hear I go, yep. I told them this is a fucking smash.
Yeah.
Come on, let's
You know,
go,
whiskey
man.
sipping, I'm like, yes, let's go.
I love it.
Yeah, he's like, I can already hear the crowd
Yeah,
saying
dude.
this back.
And it's like the gang vocals in the chorus. You don't hear a lot of gang vocals like that. You know, it's like so sick.
I pulled that from the early Sam Hunt records.
Yeah.
Had
So
all
good.
of these stacked gang vocals on the harmonies.
Yeah.
And it sounded so good. And I was like,
good.
well, why don't we do that again? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, I love those, especially that like Between the Pines EP that he put out
Oh.
kind of like before the record.
Yeah, man.
Like I heard that and I was like, my buddy John saw him open for Chase Rice in Chicago, and he was like, look up the Sam Hunt guy, you're gonna love it, and find out everything about him because he knew who I am as a person. You know, so I was like, all right,
Yep. Do your digging.
found out everything I could, and just that EP at that time was free to download from his website. It was like it wasn't even like streaming. You could like download the folder that had the songs in it. But
so
it was
sick.
so good.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's broken down, torn down country with something there.
Yeah.
Something that was different.
It's
And
the
that's-
I think the first crack in the door of where we're at now, which
Yeah.
is just you can bring in so many elements that you grew up on,
Yep.
and the beautiful umbrella of country is still there.
Yeah.
Which I think boils down to just good songwriting and storytelling.
Storytelling.
Meaningful
Yeah.
lyrics,
Yeah.
storytelling. That's
It's not
for
hard to do.
No.
It's just
Maybe
it's
for
not
you.
it's not an accent. It's not an instrument. It's
Yeah.
it's storytelling, and I think when you get that put into the music, it makes it country.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
ain't the banjo or the fiddle. It's the words and what they mean.
Yes, love it.
It's the truth, though, man.
It is.
And that's one of the things that, for me, being a music fan my whole life, but I grew up with older brothers. I was the youngest of 4 boys in the house. So each brother had different influences, right? And then my dad listened to country and my mom listened to R&B. So I had all of that playing all throughout the house in different levels of me thinking it was cool or not, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But then when I heard Zach Brown's Foundation album in 2009 or whatever year it was, I was like, oh, this is country music?
Yes.
And then I just went down the rabbit hole, you know?
Yep.
So like I listened to 90s music in the or in the 90s because I was around, and but I didn't know who sang the songs. I knew Chattahoochee, but I didn't maybe know it was Alan Jackson, you know? So for me, it's always been like the merging. It's funny because when I moved to Nashville, I got more back into rock and roll music.
Yeah. Because
I worked at Big Loud, and they had a rock label when I started going to those rock shows with like the artists that were there, and I was like, damn, I miss this.
Yeah.
You know, I'd been to like Queens of the Stone Age. That's like one of my all-time favorite bands. Yeah. So like I'd see them anytime I could. And, you know, some other rock bands, indie rock bands too. Because I had one of my best friends from Pennsylvania listen pretty much exclusively to indie rock. So I'd go see a bunch of shows like that with him. But it's funny, like I fell more in love with rock and roll when I moved to the country music capital of the world. Yeah. It's interesting.
It is. Know? And it's like, and it's a beautiful time now because all those are mixed together, which is so sick. Like it's amazing.
It's so crazy, man. Just getting to see it and see stuff a little early. Like,
oh, I bet.
Seeing Posty when he started coming to town, and you're like, why the is Post Malone in Nashville? You know, we're here seeing it before he's like putting out country music, and then you know stuff like that. You hear people talking about Beyonce looking for cuts and stuff like that. You're like, what? You know, you're like, wow, the world it is a changing. You know, it's crazy.
It is. We're cool again.
Yeah. We're talking a little bit about your live show. You want to kind of guide us through that? Tell us what that's like.
Man. Oh, it's my favorite part of the whole business.
Yeah, of course.
Like I love songwriting. I love recording. Nothing touches my live show. For me, it's like simple. It's like I look at songs like I finish it, I put it out, and it's like not mine anymore. And I know a lot of people are real precious with their songs, and they should be. But for me, I'm just like, get it out. Like, give it to somebody, because that's to me what it's for. So you go from writing in this cubicle with 4 people in Nashville, and the only time I get to experience, to me, what the song actually means is when I get to see it in front of somebody. So our live shows are the most energy I'll ever give is live, and I think it's a crazy time now because it's so expensive to go to shows. So I think everybody that comes and pays their hard-earned money to see me needs the absolute best, and so. We don't hold anything back, and it's just been a blast. We just really started playing shows this year, and our goal is 100 for the year, and I think we're like already like 55 or 60.
Sick.
So busy boys.
Yeah, we're trying. But we had some Vincent Mason dates, which were incredible. I love him to death. We got some Gavin Adcock dates in the fall. Dylan Scott, Connor Smith, Nate Smith, and it's just fun to like hone it in. You know, I don't know what I'm doing.
Hey, dude,
I'm still learning.
That's the thing I'll tell you about everyone in Nashville. The smartest people that you think have the most idea what they're doing are learning as they go.
And I think you should always be.
Yeah.
I think anybody that thinks they got it figured out is probably stalling out a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, our live shows are just, I got some, like I said, my band cuts my records. And so what you hear on the record is what you're going to get even better live.
Yeah.
And they're just like the best musicians ever. I'm so blessed to have them. Yeah.
Well, shout out the guys in the band.
Yeah. So we got Zach Epps on the guitar. We got Bryce Rowell on the guitar. Sam Rady on the bass, who's also playing with Cameron Marlowe.
Oh, cool.
He's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And Gabe on the drums, and they're just
That's
the best.
The squad.
They're the best. And on the records.
Sick.
Yeah, man.
Zach John King and the good Georgia boys.
The good Georgia boys. I love that.
All right, there you go. That's the name.
There's something in the playing card feel with the King thing, you know?
I like that. Zach John King and
the Jokers.
Yeah, the Jokers. That's sick, dude.
The one-eyed Jacks.
Yeah.
But no, man, it's super cool, and I personally like love country music. I love rock music, and the intersections. There's like some classic things where it's like the heavier rock that leans into country, but the indie rock is a little bit more delicate. And for me, like when I think back on the rock that I grew up in the 90s and then the 2000s, it was more like that indie leaning, more like storytelling vocalist stuff. And I think that's kind of like where your lane is. So it scratches such a good itch for me listening to your music.
Yeah.
And man, the new project. Why don't we talk about it?
Yeah.
Maybe like let's go song for song through it.
Absolutely.
Do we have the list?
I do, but it's over there.
Yeah.
I hope I remember it.
I can pull it up if not.
Yeah, I think I don't know the exact order.
Yeah,
but I know we've got the focus track is gonna be "Lose You,"
Yeah.
which is I don't write a lot of love songs. I think if I don't write a gritty love song that I believe in, I just don't want to write one.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times love songs are like too perfect.
Yeah.
Like love just doesn't seem to be that way.
Not always.
But dude, I moved with my wife here 3 years ago to a sight unseen apartment off Charlotte Pike. It was terrible.
Sounds terrible.
Like awful.
Yeah.
And I waited tables at 12:30 Club from like 5 in the afternoon to like 3 in the morning to right during the day. Made little to no money. And she held it down for 3 years. And it was just like, she saw me through the pit. And I was like, dang, like you get to this point where things are kind of starting to work.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think she's owed some shout out,
Yeah.
you know? And so Lose You is really about just what all I trade for her at this point. Like she's given so much to me. It's what I would trade to her. And we just packaged it in a really beautiful like folk song that everybody can sing.
Yeah.
And it's gritty and it's tough, but it's also really relatable and it's singable, and the instrumentation is like my favorite thing ever. It's super acoustic leaning, lots of banjo, lots of pedal steel, the gang vocals.
Yeah.
So I love that one. I Deserve a Heartbreak is the one that had come out right before, about a month ago.
Yep.
And
Smash, by the way.
thank you. Well, I love that song. That's probably my favorite song to play live right now. And it's pulling directly from all those indie rock influences. Like I think I actually got referenced by my team after we put the song out there. Like, I think this is a Blink-182 lick.
Yeah.
Like the guitar part. And I think it is. I don't remember which song it is. And I was like, that adds up.
It's close enough.
Yeah, it's close enough. But that one's just owning up to my mistakes. I mean, I think for me, like I said, on this EP, I wanted the good and the bad, right? Like me the whole way through. So you get the mistakes and the good things. And so for me, like, there's a lot of relationships I've been in that I'm just not proud of at all. And if I kind of got what I had coming for me, it would be pretty rough. Like if I got what I dished out in relationships, it'd be tough. So that song is a flipped hook in a weird way of like, I deserve a heartbreak, because if it all shook out evenly, it would be rough. Yeah. So we packaged that one in a really sick indie rock song, and I just love it live. It's so much fun to play. We've got the Cold Shoulder. Yeah. So Cold Shoulder is like one that we knew wasn't gonna be like a smash or whatever, but it was one of those where it's like, I remember a girl I thought I was gonna marry back in my hometown. I ended the relationship like on the coldest night of the year. And I don't remember why I did it, but it was like a cold front coming through, and I did it in her driveway. Like we were outside. And I remember it was a life-changing decision, because it was, it's going to be like staying in my hometown or moving away, whatever. And
been there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have, and I think it's the wild thing about that type of story. But I was like, if we do this right, we got to paint this movie scene. So it's as specific as I've ever written. It's like exactly how it felt, how it smelled, how it looked in this really hard story to listen to. And it's just stripped. It's acoustic and pedal steel in my voice. So I'm really proud of that one. And then we've got, let's see, I Deserve, Lose You, Cold Shoulder. She shouldn't have to. She shouldn't have to. She didn't have to. There we go. She Didn't Have to is the one coming after the focus track. And that one is like a super gritty love song again. It was like knee deep in working at the restaurant. Yeah. And it was a Sunday morning. And
worst shifts, brunch shifts were worst.
It's tough, bro. And my girl wanted to go to church, and I was too hungover to go to church. And I remember sitting on the edge of the bed, just like, I hadn't had anything going on. I mean, no networking had gone on. I was just at rock bottom. And I was like, golly day, like I'm really asking her to stick around here, because I'm not doing anything. I'm not home. I'm not making any money. I'm making mistakes at night. Like, this is tough. And that was just, she didn't have to, but she did. And it's one of those songs where it's like, she didn't have to stick around, and she did. And it's super, super raw, super real. And I'm really thankful for sticking around, because I think we've kind of made it to the other side in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of that one. And then, I see, 6, that's 5. Hole in the Wall, I think, is the 6th one. And that one's just a awesome story. We wrote that song in 30 minutes. I wrote that with Abram Dean and Jimmy Robbins. And they pitched the song, and it was like, hole in my heart, trying to fix this hole in my heart at this hole in the wall. I was like, done.
Yep.
Like, I go, like,
that
literally.
Sounds like a country song.
I was like, that's a country song. And it's also like, I love grungy dive bars. It's like my favorite places in town are like Dino's and places where
that's
it's
my
just,
hood.
Yes, it's like the tables need to be sticky, and it needs to smell like cigarettes. Like, I don't want to go to a clean bar. And so that's just a classic country song, and it's got this big sick guitar riff on the top of it, and it's just a blast to play live. And so yeah, I think for me, like, you listen top down, it's like, You get a piece of me in each one and my story in each one, and that was just the whole goal.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a great introduction, but it's also like, seriously, every one of those songs that you say, like, we know this one's not going to be a smash. That's one of my favorite ones. And
Heck yeah, man.
I think that's part of the thing, man, is just stuff that people can connect to. And I think this is a record that is easy to connect to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the goal. I think that's in musical culture. Like, the only thing worth anything now is accessibility and relatability.
Yeah.
And authenticity. Like, if you don't have those three, I think gone are the days of, like, produced pop star fake thing. I don't think people want it anymore. I think like something happened after COVID where people were like, yeah, the made up story stuff we just don't dig.
Yeah.
We like the authentic stuff. And so we're trying to lean into that more.
There's a lot less artists that are like super mysterious.
Yeah.
Like Beyonce. What does she do? No idea. But everyone else are like, I know what you're doing.
Church.
100.
Yeah.
I mean, Church still has that.
He's like one of the last ones.
Yeah.
And it's like for that generation, it's perfect. Like it works. But I think for the newer generation of artists trying to come up, you got to be careful because if you're not accessible enough for people to grab onto who you are, like they're not going to care about your music. There's too much music coming out now for them to like wait for you to reveal yourself. It's like, come on, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Why don't we talk about your team? Like, how did you get mixed up with Sony?
Man. Golly, it's a God thing, really. We were, the first year I was in town, I was like, how do I network? And my friend was like, you got to go to Key West.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's Key West? And they were like, it's a songwriting festival. And the whole pitch was networking.
Yeah.
And it's
drinking.
It's really just drinking.
Getting drunk. Yeah,
it wasn't networking.
Yeah.
And so basically, like, I went down there. I was not playing around. I wasn't invited. There was none of that. I just bought my own. I spent my month's paycheck on a plane ticket.
So
I shared a bed with my buddy who let me stay in his room, and I just would walk around and just like sit at rounds and meet people. And most people were, you know, drunk and didn't want to say hey, but there's a couple people that I met, and one of them was Nathan at Sony. And I mean, this is before anything was going on. I didn't have a song out, nothing. And I remember 2 weeks after Key West, for some reason he texted me and was like, hey, me and Lexi, my other A&R now, want to have breakfast with you. I was like, oh, cool. So we sit down for breakfast.
Where'd you all go?
We went to, he's going to kill me if I forget.
Is it that place on 8th Avenue that everyone always goes to?
If you know the name, I bet I can tell you.
You went there recently with somebody.
Fenwick's?
No, it wasn't Fenwick's.
Everyone goes to Fenwick's.
I think it was actually First Watch. There's a First Watch over there.
That's solid.
And I remember just talking through stuff, and they were like, send us some demos. So I sent them a demo. And this is 2 years ago. I mean, literally 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. And so every month or so, they just check in. Like, hey, you got anything else? You got anything else? And time passes, start putting out music. And, you know, as it starts picking up, y'all know how it works. Like, if you get one offer or one meeting, everybody's got to meet with you, even if they don't care about you. Yeah. So we're doing all the meetings. We're doing, like, the coastals. We're doing here. And they were the only people that when they were in this pitch could actually say they were day ones. Because we got all kinds of meetings where, you know, the A&Rs are like, we've loved your stuff. And I'm like, y'all been to one free show, you know, at Whiskey Jam. Yeah. And they were the only people that were literally, I was like, y'all were there before I even had music out. And amongst other things, like we really loved what the Sony Nashville legacy is, like, you know, tried and true country music. And it's been great. I mean, we signed in October, and so it's just really getting started, and I'm trying to work as hard as I can. And I mean, I think the thing that people don't understand about labels is like, they're only gonna work as hard as you do. Yeah. And they're also not this magic ticket. No. Like it's still up to you. Yeah. And it's always gonna be up to you. Yeah. And I think so, not letting it be like this finish line moment, it's a starting line moment. Yeah. And not counting on much. And it's not that you should be hopeless about a deal or anything. Like, it's great. There's so many perks. Right. But it's still in your court to make it work. And so we're just working hard as we can. So
that's what it's about, man. Yeah. And that's like the thing you see is they want you to know where you want to go.
100.
And if you want help, they would love for you to ask for it.
Yes.
They're a resource for, hey, I need something. What do you need? Or like, what do you want? Yeah. You know? Yeah. It's just they can open doors that you would have a hard time opening yourself.
It's like being accepted into a good school,
Yeah.
a good college. It's
100.
like if you don't go to class, you're not going to learn anything.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's also like
And it's also expensive.
it's also expensive. You get a lot of debt.
Yeah.
No, it's funny though because it's like learning. I think that's the weirdest thing. The weirdest shift is I'm now like learning how to run a business.
Yeah.
You're the
That's
CEO.
yeah. It's and so like the first piece of advice I got that was super helpful is like in these label meetings, you walk in with a plan. They want to hear what you want to do.
Yep.
And it's not sitting down and going, okay, what do y'all have? It's like, no, that's not being a good leader. Like a good leader comes in with a vision, and that vision can change,
Yep.
you know, and the team can assist in helping with that. But like at the end of the day, like I'm learning how to like cast the vision forward, and I've got a team behind me to do it with me. And I think that's the move.
It's powerful, man. Having other people that believe in you pointing in the same direction is so powerful.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And it lets you craft your vision and help that execute it.
For sure.
You know?
It takes stuff off your plate so you can focus on writing songs and
Yes.
being at home with your wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing how quickly that part gets like lost. The songwriting part.
Yeah.
It all started with songwriting, and then it's like it becomes the lowest part of the totem pole, and you're like, well, why is that happening? You know, it's like shows and other meetings and stuff. It's like, well, it all starts with a song.
Well, and that's
You
the
know?
crazy thing, because the song's really what ends up making the people be there, but
Yes.
it doesn't make any money till it's out, you know? So it's like
100.
yeah. So it's like, when are we gonna have time to do the stuff that's not currently making us money when we have stuff that's currently
Yes.
trying to make us money, so that we
100.
can fix the whole thing?
Yeah, and
you
you've
know?
seen where it's like you can push as hard as you want for socials and but if you don't have a song, nobody's gonna care.
No.
And it's the opposite too. You can have a song and it does more heavy lifting for you than years of other stuff. It's just you have to have the song.
Yeah.
And if it works on socials without the music, then you're just an influencer.
100.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but like you're not gonna make a living being a touring musician.
You got to convert that into tickets.
Right.
Yeah.
That takes music.
Tall order. Yeah.
It's a very interesting thing too, like now getting to see how it all works. But at the end of the day, it's still like you said, it's the song that breaks through.
Yes.
You know, it's like you hear a song like "Wanna Be Cowboy" and you're like, "Oh fuck," you know, and then everybody's head turns
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, what have I been missing?"
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of being an artist.
Yeah.
You know,
And our goal is for every song we put out,
to hit like that.
like we want "Lose You" to be that next song where
Yes.
people are like, "Oh, that's the one." It's like
Yep.
if we can do that every release, you know, we might not have this like immediate viral moment, but if you do that 15 times,
yeah.
you build this grassroots thing.
Yep.
And like that's something that was really encouraging on our EP show. I didn't know if anybody, you know, show up, and we sold it out in 5 minutes.
So
Where was it?
You know, it's at Cannery. And,
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
I was like, this is crazy, and I thought it was a glitch. I was like, did we post the tickets? They're like, yeah, we posted the tickets. And you know, that's Nashville. It's a
Yeah.
little easier to sell tickets in Nashville. We
You're
haven't tried it
incorrect, sir. Yeah.
outside of Nashville, so
I was gonna say
not
you're
really-
incorrect, sir. It's hard to tell it's in
Yeah.
Nashville.
fair enough.
Easier for
Yeah.
you, maybe.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna get ahead of myself, but it's cool to know that like if you are intentional with what you have, I think you can build a sustainable fan base
Mhm.
and not maybe getting the cart before the horse and like priorities. Like priorities still the fans.
Yeah.
Like fans are everything, and you live and die by the fact that are people fans of you or are they just listening to your song?
Right.
There's a very big difference in
Yes.
sustainability.
Yes.
Like you don't get your Eric Churches with 20 plus year careers without fans.
Yes.
Even if you had the hit,
Right.
and y'all have seen it, there's plenty of people with hits
Yes.
that don't have
Can't sell tickets.
lifelong fans.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I want. I want lifelong fans.
Yeah. It was always crazy, like seeing some just smash of a song on the radio. Everybody loves it, and then you go to a show and there's 40 people there, and you're like,
Yep.
whoa,
Yep.
that's crazy.
It's a wild thought.
Yeah, because the
And then-
song can have people that love it, but they're not fans.
Yep.
And then some people, they have their artist tattoos, you know?
Yep.
So we had Aaron Tannenbaum on, Luke's booking agent, and we talked about that. What's the difference? You know, a big song, ticket sales, sometimes not. And he's like, I don't know. It's like some secret thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like the authenticity between the song and the artist? Because like I think we could, anybody in Nashville, there's writers talented enough where if you were like, I want a hit, a radio hit, somebody in this town's going to write it.
Or they already got one.
Or they already got one.
Yeah.
But like that doesn't transition a lot of times to like people connecting with you like as an artist. And I wonder with people like Luke, they've done both. They have a smash song, but there's like this immediate recognition of like, oh, this is him.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like, there's no smoke and mirrors here. This is like authentically him. And I wonder if you start that early enough, and you don't compromise it, like at the beginning of your career, you don't sell out.
Yeah.
If you want to use that word, I think that's when you start. It may take longer.
Yeah.
Like I look at Steven Wilson Jr., who like just hit 1 million followers, or 1 million listeners.
Spotify. Yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
And dude's selling like mad.
Yeah.
And it's because he just brick by brick did it the right way. His songs are unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's authentically 100% him.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter. The rest doesn't matter.
No.
Because he's going to have a 20+ year career.
Yep.
Super unique voice,
Yes.
super unique look, great songs.
Yes.
He's got everything.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And I remember Matt had him on the podcast early, and my buddy Mitch Wallace being like, dude, this guy, you have to see this guy. You know, and I didn't actually go with them when they went, and I feel so bad that I didn't, because like, he's just, even his online performances of him acoustic, you're just like, whoa.
It's so, I was so lucky. The first month I was in town, I love Brent Cobb.
Yeah. Me
And
too.
I went and saw, I was like, Brent Cobb's going to be at Live Oak, which is like an anomaly of itself.
Yeah.
But it was Brent Cobb and Steven Wilson.
Crazy.
And I got to see him. He played his gut string through this pedal board
Yeah.
at Live Oak. And just, I remembered to this day, I remember what it made me feel. And I'd never heard of him.
Yeah.
You know, insane.
Those are the special moments.
Insane,
Nashville,
man.
man.
Yeah.
Like, that's the crazy stuff.
100.
Yeah, my girlfriend just opened for him a weekend run.
Yeah.
And so I went out on the road with those boys. They're also super freaking nice people, too.
Love that.
But enough about him. Anyway.
I can talk.
Yeah.
I forget.
I could talk about him for a while as well. But he's not on the pod right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But man, so like you talked about touring. Is there intention in your live show as you're defining it for like, are you trying to like build in moments? Are you kind of letting the songs do the work? Are you trying to craft that like live experience? Like, what's that look like right now? For you
Yeah,
guys?
I think we're trying to craft that with what tools we have. So like right now we're in support slots.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out how to put the best live experience we can in 25 minutes or 30 minutes of a set.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that is balancing like talking points and musical moments and flexing the band. Like if people feel something, like the best advice I got is like country music fans want to, they care how they feel.
Yeah.
They might not remember the song they heard. They might not remember where they were, but they remember how they feel. So I think we're trying to cultivate a feeling.
That's cool.
And so I think a lot of that is like, it's talking points. It's introducing who I am pretty quickly and early, so people feel like they connect with me on stage. But I do think our songs do that already. Like I think a lot of that heavy lifting is done by the songwriting, because I write songs like directly from my experiences.
Yeah.
So there's no disconnect with like what I'm singing and who I am.
Yeah.
And I think so a lot of that is like already done with the song.
That's
you know?
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always so interesting. And, you know, coming from the indie, like world, what do you feel kind of, is there anything that was kind of like a cheat code for you with that in terms of like live shows or even musically that you think has kind of like given you a leg up?
Like taking stuff from rock bands and bringing it over to the country world kind of thing? Or
Dang, that's such a good question. There's a couple things that come to mind. I think there's not enough guitar hooks in country music.
Yeah.
Dude, hell yeah.
And
Riffs. Let's go with riffs.
Speaking of the
dude.
choir, I think you look at some of the biggest smashes of the last 5 years in country, and a lot of them have licks.
Yeah.
And indie rock is all licks. Like some of the time, sometimes the hook is the guitar.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that is kind of important on our end, is putting some instrumental hook in a song that's like, even before you hear the melody, you're hearing something else. So that's a cheat code that I learned from indie rock. And then, dude, I think the other one is just like cutting my teeth on bad shows. Like I played so many, and I played good shows too, but I played so many bad shows in terrible venues with no one there for years that you get this like, you almost get an invincibility complex, which you need, especially in support slots, because nobody cares who you are when you're supporting. They want you to tell them who they are or who you are. And so I think that's my cheat code too. Is like I played so many. My goal is to get up there and to tell you who I am as quickly as possible and as genuinely as possible. And if you don't like it, like I don't care.
Yeah.
That's kind of where that thick skin maybe is the better word to use. Like I've grown very thick skin from doing it over and over and over again. And then when the good shows happen, you're just so grateful for them.
Yeah.
You know, the humility of that is beautiful.
Well, it sounds like you're touring with a lot of cool folks. So
They're the best.
Probably, obviously your band, but also all the folks you're opening for. So you're probably not playing a lot of bad shows anymore these days.
Praise God, I'm not. And they've been, all of the acts we've opened with so far have just been
the homies.
Such an amazing time, and teams. Their teams are incredible. Everybody. Vincent's team, Nate's team, Dylan's team, Connor's team.
And I'm sure you're learning stuff from each artist, different things.
All of them.
They all do things different.
Yep. Learning what I like. It's just each night is like a little nugget to take away and put in the bank and be like, all right, we can do that better.
Yeah.
And I learned, each night you learn something different.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
If in terms of your live show, is there any like artists that you've heavily drawn inspiration from, regardless of genre, or like anything where you're like, I took a little bit of this from this thing? Anyone in particular, artist wise?
Man, I grew up just enthralled with Bruce Springsteen's live shows.
Yeah.
I've never seen him live. I've watched YouTube videos and documentaries and stuff. There's something just intoxicating about, you can see on stage, like he's pouring out everything from him onto the crowd. Like literally just sweat and just, he's feeling every note. And I'm like, I don't love when you watch a performance and that doesn't happen. Yeah. So like, I want you to viscerally see that like I'm all in this, you know? And so that's been a big one. Like early Springsteen, dude. Yeah. It's like neck veins popping and like sweat dripping and like passion, you know? Yeah. I want to be passionate. So I pull a lot from them. I love, to this day, Kings of Leon's like still my favorite band. Mm-hmm. And there's like this cool factor to them that, again, like we're not trying to be inauthentic, right? Mm-hmm. But there's like also this like, it may sound vain, but like I'm really particular about like what we wear on stage. Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure we look good and like sound good. They're one of the best sounding live bands I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. So pulling from like the passion of Springsteen and the like look and sound of Leon and like that polished, like not missing a beat, not missing a note. Everybody looks cool. Trying to pull, you know, somewhere in the middle of that is like what my live show is kind of ending up as.
That's sick. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
It's always funny to see how different bands dress too, even in the genre. You know, it's like, you know, with Luke, it's like no one's ever told me what to wear or anything. Like it's never even brought up one time. The only time it's like if I wear a white shirt, everyone's like, nice white shirt, you know? And then you see like Morgan's guys, like they kind of have a uniform, you know? And then you look like Zach with Zach, he wears that huge suit, like the nudie suit. Yeah. So it's just like everyone has their own thing. Yeah. And it's like just another cool way of expressing yourself.
Yeah, it is. And I also want my guys to like feel as confident as they possibly can walking on stage. Yeah. So it's not like I don't have like a
dress code.
You're right. I just every night I'm just like, you wear what you feel most confident in, and it's gonna be sick because you're gonna feel good. It's like the Deion Sanders thing. It's like look good, play good. Like that's my philosophy.
I know. Kind of a funny story is doing radio shows back in the day when I was playing for Jana Kramer, and so you know it's like the day after the radio show, all the people that you played with are all at the airport with you, and so you know you're wearing sweatpants and a hoodie or whatever, and then Frankie Ballard and all his guys are like with the fancy denim with the cuff and the boots, and they got like their mustaches waxed and all that. I'm like, damn, you guys are looking clean, like for the airport. And they're like, yeah. And I talked to my buddy Billy, who played in that band. He's like, yeah, Frankie would have us dress the nines like all the time when we're out in public, just because it was like the way he wanted to be represented.
Yeah. There's a way to do all of that. Yeah. I think it just depends on who you are and what your brand wants to be. And but I love it.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Did you guys like one of the things that I thought was cool, like when I was at a label, was like branding meetings, like talking about that stuff with intention, you know, and that guise of that, just speaking it out loud, which is all from you and the thoughts that you've had forever.
Yeah.
But just speaking it out loud has some kind of power where it's like, okay, now I said it.
Yes.
I've been feeling it. Yes. But now I said it. And now we're going to point towards it, which I think is super powerful.
No, we've worked hard on that. It wasn't like a conscious decision of like, this is what we're going to be. We just kind of always work towards something. And so my big thing, I think one time I brought up in a meeting, it was like Waffle House Southern.
Yeah.
And like, I remember what would I wear to Waffle House at like 3 a.m? Like if I was out already.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wear a trucker hat and a flannel and boots, and I cuff my jeans, you know, which is kind of a no-no in Texas and stuff. But like for me, that's what I do.
Yeah.
So like we've kind of built it around like where I came from. Like I wear a ton of my uncle gave me all this hand-me-down mossy oak camo, like old school bottomland stuff, like great stuff. I wear that all the time.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like it's always used stuff.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing to do. Is like I built a brand around like worn in, used, I don't know,
Vintage
work hard stuff. I don't like new stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like new guitars. I don't like new trucks. I don't like new clothes. And so that's sort of like my brand. And I think there's some authenticity in there, which like I ain't trying to show up in like a freaking
2026 Ford F-350.
Yeah, and maybe one day, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
But like it's not my vibe. I love old stuff, and I don't buy a lot. Like I still drive the truck I had in high school.
Yeah.
And it's got a dent in the front from when I was working at 1230 Club, and I pulled into the parking deck too wide, and
oops,
I didn't change it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of who I am.
Dude, I think that's a super cool thing too. You're seeing like vintage apparel and stuff be heavily back in the scene, not just in Nashville, but around the country.
Yeah.
And I think that's super cool. For me too, it feels like
I got my hand-me-down boots on.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Heck yeah, man.
My buddy Brett's like, you want these? I'm like, hell yeah,
I love them.
Sick.
Like I've worn these in.
Yeah.
I bought
there
these.
you go.
Yeah.
These were the first boots. I told myself I was going to buy a pair of boots in my first cut in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy cut a song in March of 2023. Yeah, I bought my pair of Tacobas. Only ones I bought. I wear them every day.
Dude, there's nothing wrong with that. Good pair of boots, especially if you can get them resold. Which you can,
Absolutely.
You know? Man, well, what else do you got going on? You talked about touring.
Yeah.
Are you playing any festival dates or anything this year?
Yeah, we got some CMA Fest is gonna be. I've never played CMA Fest, so
it's gonna be sick.
it's gonna be first year.
What do you know? What stage you're on?
Yeah, we're on the. I believe we're on the Reverb stage.
Cool.
Whatever's outside Bridgestone.
Yeah, that one that's right there.
The Reverb stage on Sunday at like
Sick.
2, I think. Super pumped on that. Last year I was just there as like a fan.
Hanging.
Yeah,
It's
so
so
that'll be
cool.
sick. And then yeah, we've got Voices of America coming up.
Hell
We've got
yeah.
some one-offs. This year it's funny, like the like next year's summer will be like our festival season.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really have anything going on when they were pitching for festivals.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see it, like it's picking up, but it's picking up like for the fall.
That's cool.
So next summer will be the move,
Yeah.
but the fall is packed. Like
Yeah.
we're with Dylan Scott, Gavin Adcock. We got a ton of stuff going on in the fall,
so cool.
and so much more music. Like I already have, the EP's done. It's coming out the 23rd, but like I already have 2 more songs. Like
Is that
ready
May
to roll.
23rd?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So in 3 days
3 days.
from the time I cut this. Dang.
Yep.
So it's gonna be out when this
Yeah.
drops.
It's
Hey,
gonna be
congrats
out.
on the release.
Thank
dude.
Yeah.
Slow Down. Oh, that's the song I forgot. It's not Hole in the Wall. It's Slow Down. Slow Down's on the EP.
Tell us a
I
little
need
bit
the
about
list.
that.
Yeah, Slow Down is the title track. I should have remembered that. No, Slow Down's the first song I cut, signed to Sony, which is really cool.
Cool.
But yeah, that was one of those where it's just like, you ever have I live in a town small enough to like not be able to escape like associative memory.
Mm-hmm.
Like you
Yeah,
pass things and it's like, oh my gosh, like I remember doing that thing here with that person, and you can't get away.
Yeah.
That the whole thing's about literally like not being able to escape a memory, and it's just asking. It's like, hey, would you just take a second, like just chill out and quit bothering me, that memory. So
Yeah.
slow it on down. So it's Slow Down, Lose You, I Deserve a Heartbreak, She Didn't Have to, and Cold Shoulder. I think that's the EP. If I'm forgetting anything, y'all can go listen to it.
Well, man, it's been a blessing to get to sit down with you. I know we've like chatted a little bit in passing at a couple events, but it's been cool to hear a little bit more of your story, man.
Dude, thanks for having me, man.
Of course.
It's been a
We
blast.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Well, guys, we thank you for listening to us. Make sure you follow Zach on the internet. Download the new EP.
Yes, sir.
And, man, great freaking music.
Thank you.
Mashing of 2 eclectic genres together, and it sounds so freaking organic, man. I love it.
Appreciate you, man. Thank y'all so much.
All right. Well, I'm Nicky T.
Kurt Ozan, and we'll see you on the front row.